Welcome back to Art That Plays and Prays. Ginger here. Today we'll do some journaling using scraps, old recyclables, and found objects. If you've hidden away junk in your drawers and you want to upcycle them, then watch this video for some ideas. I'll create a collage out of my old stamp album and a few torn, ugly postage stamps. Because I'm a stamp collector, but the ones I'll use here are the damaged duplicates that don't have much value anymore. I was cleaning my closet the other day when I found this decades-old stamp album. The pages are not acid-free, so you can see lots of yellow spots on it. I love this album cover though, so I decided not to throw it out. While cleaning, I also found a greeting card my friend gave me on my 50th birthday. I can't believe I just admitted I'm 50. Anyway, I love the message she wrote on the card, so I decided to sort of immortalize it by making something artsy in this journal. I hope my friend won't mind that I'm tearing the card apart and preserving only her handwriting. On my 50th, I plan to make a journal of all the things I learned, something like 50 things I learned at 50. So I started making a list, but the funny thing is, I couldn't think of 50 things. I ended up writing about maybe only 10 things I learned at 50. I guess I'm a tough dog to teach, and I never learned anything in all these years I've been growing. Anyway, on this collage page, I'm going to paste the birthday card my friend gave, and then write on the opposite page one of the things I learned at 50. So as you've already seen, I prepped this page with black gesso instead of the usual white. The whole idea is to mess up this journal and not care about composition. As you saw, I didn't even use a palette knife. I just spread the gesso with a bottle cover seal. If you want to try this, you can use any scraper available in your house, maybe a credit card, a spatula, or even a fork to add roughness on the surface. On top of the gesso, I used copper texture paste by Finnabair Prim Marketing. This product is copper crackle and is supposed to leave fine cracks when it's dry. I like to grunge up this page, so you see I'm using this distress inks from Tim Holtz, this gouache from Caran d'Ache, and all sorts of sprays and stains I have in my toolbox. If you want to try doing a collage, you don't have to worry about buying materials. If you don't have what I'm using, then it's fine. Just find decent substitutes. Any acrylic paints or watercolor can do. You can use also scraps of paper or some mailing labels or pages from books, then glue them on the page to cover the surface. It's up to you. However way you want to present your journal, it's all up to you. The only thing you need to keep in mind is that you have to apply your materials as randomly as you can. There's no need to be tidy, no need to plan or measure. That's the thing about collages. Whatever feels good to you is perfect to add to your page. Now, in my case, I wanted to keep my birthday card, so it'll be the focal point of my page. Wait, let me read to you what my friend wrote. It says on the card, "Dearest Ginger, happiest 50th birthday. Welcome to the club. You've had such a faith-inspiring race thus far. Truly, the race is not to the swift, but to those who run with endurance. I so look forward to reading the new things that God will do in you and your family for the encouragement of your readers and fans like me. I love and miss you, my dearest friend." See how sweet and beautiful that is, right? I love how she wrote, "The race is not to the swift, but to those who run with endurance." Because the truth is, the gap between where I am now and where I want to be in life, that distance is too far and wide. I can't seem to reach my dream no matter how hard I strive. So I was encouraged to hear this from my friend, that our journey in life is not so much about how fast we get to the finish line. It's not so much about how early we reach our dreams and achieve the success that comes with it. What's more important is that we stay in the race. we persevere and work hard even when the whole world is giving us like lots of headaches and heartaches, and even when everyone's telling us to give up. This message in the card really resonated with me, so I'm putting it in this journal for keeps. See, I'm staining it here and I just want to just grunge it up, but truth is I just want to make it more beautiful, and I want to keep it for as long as forever. So okay, I told you I wanted to make a list of 50 things, right? Things I learned at 50. So on the right side of this page, where this one I'm grunging right now, I'm distressing the edges of it. The first lesson I learned that I'm going to write on this sheets of strips of paper here. I'm going to write here, be generous even in your scarcity. Poverty is not an excuse for selfishness. That's not a quote from somebody. I wrote that down by myself, and it came straight from my heart. And this lesson in generosity is so important to me. Because let me tell you a story. There was a time I was driving in a highway here in Canada. I stopped on the left turning lane, because the light was red. And then I saw a young girl, maybe she's a teenager, and she stood in the center island with a cardboard box sign that read, "I'm a refugee and I'm hungry, please help me." So I fumbled for something to give her, but I don't normally bring cash with me, so I had nothing at that time. Sometimes I have food in the car, but just my luck, that day I had nothing. I felt so sorry for the kid, but I had nothing. So I just looked at her and I drove past when the light turned green. I felt so sorry, and my sorrow and compassion did nothing for the kid. And it broke my heart that at that point, I was selfish. I argue that God would understand, because we are a single income family and life for us was tough as well. And so I rationalized that God would understand. But at that point, when I left the helpless girl, and I looked back to see that none of the succeeding cars behind me helped her as well. And at that point, I felt the Lord speak to my heart. I felt Him say, "Ginger, be generous, for I, the Lord, am generous, and a child should be like her Father in heaven." So that convicted me. I wasn't generous. I wasn't following in the footsteps of my Father in heaven. While I was driving, I was too distracted to figure out the solution for the kid. But I realized only later that when I turned left, right at the corner in that street, was a gas station with a convenience store. Now, I could have bought some food from that store. I could have told the girl, "Hey, cross the street and meet me there." Then I could have fed her and given her more to take home, wherever home was for her. But I didn't do it. I didn't think. I didn't realize I could have done that. So that moment was a teachable moment for me. And it was from that experience of brokenness and regret that I wrote this lesson in my journal. So I put it here in this page. Be generous, even in your scarcity. Because poverty is not an excuse for selfishness. Our own poverty is not an excuse for us to be selfish. So, friends, we find so many homeless people on the streets. What do we do when they linger around us? Do we look away and pretend we didn't see them? Do we scrunch up our noses and hold our breath because they stink? Or do we walk fast and move farther away because we think they might rob us, or they might be intoxicated or drugged and pose a danger to our family? I'm ashamed to admit that I had at least one of those reactions many times in my life. I know it's not a Christian thing to do, but when I imagine that Christ's face is in those people, helping doesn't become a burden, it becomes pure joy. As Jesus said, "Whatever you do to the least of my brothers, you do it to me." Thanks, friends, for spending these past 10 minutes with me. This is again Ginger, your host from Our That Place and Praise. Thank you, and see you again next time.